Welcome to Authentic with Brazil 201. I'm your host, Brazil 201. First, update Kimmel is back. Now, I always believed Jimmy Kimmel was going to come back, not just because all of the Disney talent who work for various Disney Plus shows, Hulu shows, ABC shows were beginning to bail on red carpet appearances and not shoot their shows, but there was always a loophole out of this. I assumed if Kimmel was going to come back, Kimmel's show was going to move to be a Disney Plus or Hulu show only, which would have made it not the FCC would have zero control of it. Control over it, similar to how Bill Maher, The Daily Show, and John Oliver, are not beholden to the FCC. Also, now Disney can go fight this in court if the Next Star and Telemundo or whatever the other next gen try to block Kimmel from being on the airways. But then, even then, in these local households, most people are not watching these late night shows on at 11:30. I was against this alleged Kimmel pullover because, once again, as I said, Kimmel never mocked Kirk. All he did was mock the alleged shooter, who, by the way, at the time of that, we didn't know his political beliefs. And now the new thing is Trans Tifa, which Sagar on Breaking Points kind of went into this whole Trans Tifa thing. Well, you know what? And I'm not even going to go into that. I'm glad Kimmel's back. I'm glad 215 people did not lose their jobs. I know some people who work on the Kimmel show, so I'm glad they get to have it. Also, Kimmel's coming to Brooklyn next week, so that should be fun. But we're going to talk about Kamala Harris's memoir, 107 Days. And boy, it's quite an interesting book, to say the least. But either way, I have thoughts. I will leave my thoughts to at the end of the podcast after I kind of do a whole summary quickly on this. So, look, we're diving into Kamala Harris's new memoir, 107 Days. It's her post-mortem on her short run for president. And honestly, it's a book that's more revealing than I expected. Harris admits things I never thought she would put in writing. And at the same time, the book exposes the deeper problem Democrats have, especially when it comes to gender identity and how staffers seem to still shape their candidates to this day in September 2025. Look, setting the stage. The title, 107 Days, look, refers to the exact length of her presidential campaign. Expectations were sky high, but the result was collapse. In the book, Harris tries to explain what went wrong. Some of her reflections are kind of candid, while others feel like she still doesn't understand why her campaign failed. So, here's some revelations from the book. Let's start out, what jumped out at personally at me. Harris admits her top choice for vice president was Pete Buttigieg, right? She thought he was the best fit. Smart, disciplined, able to make the liberal arguments in a way conservatives could hear and maybe be open to. But she ruled him out because she thought America wouldn't accept the combination of a black woman married to a Jewish man plus a gay vice president who has black children. She writes, "We were already asking a lot, of America. Part of me wanted to say screw it, do it, but it was too big a risk." And look, I don't want to admit that's honesty about it. It's the limits of identity in American politics. And by the way, now, as we know in 2028, no woman is winning as a Democrat, okay? And it doesn't matter if it's the hottest centrist white girl, AOC, Kamala, Klobuchar, Whitmore. No female is winning the 2028 nomination as a Democrat, or if somehow they do, they are not winning the presidency. By the way, also, we're never going to have a double woman ticket or woman plus gay guy or gay guy in the inverse. We know the electorate of America, and unlike in 2020 where everyone was too scared to talk about this, right, where no one wanted to admit that Elizabeth Warren or Klobuchar could not win, now we're going to have this open debate where we're like, yeah, the voters are saying, yeah, a woman can't win. Okay, and women know I'm sorry, the first woman president is going to be a hot Republican chick who is probably, adjacent to TPUSA. I actually now think our future first female president is probably going to be Erica Kirk in the 2030s. I think she's destined to become president in the 2030s. Whether you like the politics or not, I think it's a very Jackie Kennedy situation on that. Anyway, so she talks about her loyalty to Joe Biden and how that boxed her in, and that she couldn't really break away from him even when she disagreed. She says the Biden team didn't always defend her, and that's a structural problem for any VP, especially for someone already carrying stereotypes and extra baggage in the media. Right? She called Biden's decision to run again reckless, and that's another thing I don't think she'd ever admit in print. And then there's the legendary they them ad problem. Harris says she got hammered by Republican ads that claimed she was pushing pronouns in schools, trying to force kids into they them language, the illegal transgendered in prison, which she is on tape saying, and then the Charlemagne ad, a voice on top of it. Her campaign tried to downplay it, which made her look defensive, and that just shows how identity issues were weaponized and how Democrats still don't know how to fight back effectively on this issue. And, by the way, how still to this day, there is the 20%, the blue sky libs, who want to die on the men and women sports issue because they say it's a civil rights issue if you don't allow biological men and women sports because this is ceding rights or whatever bullshit, even though this is an 80-20 issue. And the 20% that want to die on this hill are the 20% that are fucking retarded and nobody can tolerate. Okay, that's just the fact. These are the people who should not be hired for fucking political campaigns or be working in democratic politics, but they're the only ones who do because they like being paid shit because they think they're going to make a difference. What do you expect from that level of retardation? But it is what it is. But hey, we can say retard again and they're going to cry and say R word like that fucking fat fuck who wears the panda costume. Anyway, also, Harris acknowledged her became frustrated with the left-wing Gaza protesters, and she writes, "The threat to withhold their vote got to me. It felt reckless. The issue was not binary, but the outcome of this election certainly was. Why weren't they protesting at Trump rallies?" I wondered. What's interesting is with that is that we're 9 months into the Donald Trump presidency right now, and Trump has only been protested once by the Free Palestine, blue hair, stereotype vegans. And I just want to know why. Trump's been president now for 9 months. He's sent money to Israel and shit. And he's the one who wants to build the fucking Trump hotel in Gaza while RPGs are fired at construction workers and shit. So why are people not processing it? Anyway, look, I accept the fact that like no future in any primary can be an APAC, take money from APAC or be someone who wants to fund Israel. I get that. Look, I'm a person who doesn't want to fund any foreign country. Okay, I don't want to fund the rebuilding of fucking Palestine. I also don't want to fund Israel or fund any foreign country. Okay, America is not the world's Costco. America needs to be America's Costco. Okay. Also, Harris points out how the media treated her compared to men. When she made a gaffe or gave meeting answers, she got mocked as incoherent. First of all, I want to say to this Kamala Harris, because I heard this for 40 days and then eventually became a fucking TikTok meme. All she said is, I grew up in a middle class family. Nonstop. That was her answer to fucking everything, and it was insufferable. Similar, by the way, to the same fucking problem Mikey Sherrill is having in the New Jersey governor race. Do these women know how to be direct and to the point instead of these fucking stupid talking points? Nobody in real life talks this way, and we could tell you do not believe the words you are saying. Which, by the way, is a Gavin Newsom, when he lies, I want you people to know, because this is an interesting, his tell. On video, he does this thing where he moves his right fist forward and his left fist back, like in a weird motion as if he's doing curls, but not up down. It's just forward. It's an interesting thing. That's how you know when Gavin Newsom's lying. By the way, and she finally admits she admits she doesn't know why she lost. For example, like her infamous The View interview, which by the way sunk her campaign because on Polymarket before the View interview she was at 52% of winning, which wasn't great, but that's where she was on Polymarket. After the View interview, when she said, "There's not a thing that comes to mind I would do anything different from the Biden era," and that that was the grenade that blew up her campaign, and she never recovered on Polymarket. Right? She immediately only became 20% shot to win, and that's how I knew she lost the election on the View. Whether she was never had a shot to win, the View sunk it because people were done with the Biden era. By the way, Kamala Harris, you were not going to be fucking president in 2028. Just so we know this, no woman is, as I've said this many times. But what what this book shows us about the Democratic Party is these aren't like personal stories. They just show like structural weakness inside the Democratic Party. First, identity is still going to be treated as a liability, right? Democrats talk too much about diversity, but Trump won almost half of Hispanic votes and almost 33% of the black vote. But, you know, Harris is telling flat out she knows a black woman gay ticket was impossible. Second, she was risk averse. Instead of saying things that could energize voters, there was this calculation that let's play it safe. And this staffer mentality shows like, or consultants, how campaigns get suffocated. The staff dynamics. Harris makes it clear the Biden team undercut her, or at least didn't protect her. And that's not just about Harris. It's a cultural problem where staffers think they know better than candidates, especially when the candidate, well, the Joe Biden situation was an 82-year-old senile old man who now has stage 4 cancer and is probably going to be dead in 2 years. Next, the media bias. She's mad the word salad label stuck to her in a way it never would have for like a Fetterman, but dog, she does speak in word salad. So does Mikey Sherrill. Fifth, the loyalty nonsense, the culture war framing, and the Gaza protests. I had some interesting questions though. Was Harris right? I mean, Harris was right that America couldn't buy a black woman gay ticket. I was like, that's impossible. We also can't buy a woman ticket and all of it. But Democrats do hurt themselves by letting staffers push them into safe choices or controversial policy decisions instead of the they them culture war ads worked, the Gaza protests, and Harris was just honest about like Joe Biden being mentally, decrepit. Okay? It's what's the better way to say this? Kamala Harris's 107-day book isn't just about her, it's about the Democratic Party. And it shows a party that claims to want change, but is still afraid of risk, still stuck in staffer culture, making them do these stupid questionnaires, still unsure how to handle identity, politics, get rid of it. And it's increasingly split from its activist base. And I don't mean this don't fund Israel shit. I'm talking about the nonsense of men and women's sports, the pronouns, the don't say retard, everybody has to be a good person, don't be a fuckboy, all this bullshit from the ugly, fucking woke staffers that work for almost every Democrat because they can't get a real job. But anyway, that's all for today. I kind of enjoyed the book. It is what it is. And there we go.